What is going on, guys? Christopher Nick here, and a lot of you guys are asking in my comment section below, Instagram, Patreon, everywhere, Chris, where the hell have you been? And there's a very easy answer for that. Truthfully, I've been having a basement bender down in the basement. Isn't that right, Cooper?
Yes.
Meaning, I've just been watching Netflix. But I can't lie, it's been a really good time, and it's just been nice to just kind of just lay down, relax, and kind of just take in all of these injuries and be like, well, you can't do anything anyway, so suck it up. But let me tell you, we are back, and we are back with a very long video because today I want to talk about every single car I've owned, how many cars I've owned, and pretty much most of them have a story to them. Cooper, if you were to guess right now, 1 out of 150, how many cars do you think I've owned?
50.
50. So Cooper guessed 50. Go down in the comment section below right now and tell me how many cars you think that I've had. But I'm going to tell you at the end of the video, but I think it's going to be funny and tell you guys kind of the stories that I've been through with all of these cars. But first, we have a video sponsor today, and right now sponsors are very important to my channel, so if I can just have a second of your time, here we go. Today's video is sponsored by Cashman Casino Vegas Slot Machine, and you're really gonna like this game, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. Number one, the game is absolutely free. Now let's talk real for a second. For everyone living in the US, you guys know COVID is spreading like wildfire once again. Things are slowly closing down and people are finding themselves in their houses more than ever. So right now is the perfect time to try out this free game, whether you're on iOS, Android, they have it all for you there. Now, I personally love this game because I love taking risks. Risks to me are fun. It's just something about playing some slots that really just keeps me on my toes and like really focused on the game. Like, am I gonna lose it? Or are we gonna hit the jackpot? You really never know. An awesome feature about this game is they have so many different slot machine games. Like, you can literally look at these slot machines for days. They just keep on going, and every single one has like a different purpose or like a different mini game. And it's really cool. Here's some examples. We got Lost Legends, Aeon Gulong's Treasure, Hong Kong Jackpots, and just so much more. Now, each of these slot games has their own jackpot, so there's always a very good chance that you can win the jackpot. I've been so close so many times, and it just kills me. I have to say, my favorite slot is Hong Kong Jackpots. Something about playing bingo while playing the slot really just has me on the edge of my seat at all times. But it can also be very aggravating. If you have a couple places that you can win bingo and you win one that's not worth that much, you get a little upset, I can't even lie. Now, while you're playing all these slot games, there is kind of a bigger picture to this story, and that's called the Cashman's Cruise. Now, every day when you're playing these slot machines, you earn these random chests. Inside these chests are certain artifacts that you need to win the Cashman's Cruise. And if you win Cashman's Cruise, you are set for life, my friend, and you have nothing to worry about. Now, by using my link in the description, you get a bunch of free goodies such as 1 million coins, times 2 XP for 3 hours, and a coin shop boost 15% for 6 hours. I can't stress enough that this game is 100% free to play, and you don't have to spend $1 to support my channel or support this app that is supporting my channel. So please go down into this description below, click on the link, and I want to thank Cashman Casino one more time for sponsoring this video. Welcome to the family. I really appreciate every single one of you that just watched that sponsor and or just downloaded the game, because it actually is fun. I have about probably 6 hours invested. But anyways, enough talking about the sponsor. Now, before I talk about all these cars, I do want to tell you guys within the next couple videos, I do want to do a Q&A. So if you have any questions about any of these cars or any questions to ask me, definitely throw it down in the comment section below, because I want to answer every single one of you guys' comments. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 hours. I just want to try to answer all of your guys' questions. So definitely throw it down and let me know. Let's get on with it. Today we are talking about how many cars I've owned, and we're just going to talk about number one right now, and that's my 1997 Volkswagen Jetta Mark III, the boxy one, the 4-door boxy Jetta. Dude, when I got this thing, it was 250 bucks. I thought I was the coolest person ever. Didn't even have my license yet. Was that 2013? Because that's when I sprained my ankle. I still had one of those like boots on that I had to like walk with. So like pushing in the clutch, because it was a 5-speed, like my leg would shake like this because it was so weak, because I wasn't using it that much, and probably because I was just a big PUSSY. Don't repeat that. Moving on. Yeah, that car literally lasted 2 freaking days. The first day, Orion and I, we snuck it. We drove it to school. Halfway to school, the thing overheated, went all the way to H. At the time, we had no idea, like, really what was going on. So Orion actually opened the coolant reservoir and the thing just exploded. And coolant everywhere. We just started running. Thing was a straight volcano, and after that, we made it to school. Orion was in automotive at the time. He said he fixed it. We drove it back. The car never started again. Reverse broke. Everything was just breaking. Long story short, we ended up scrapping it for 60 bucks. Yeah, exactly. It was a big fail. That was my first car. Now my second car, my mom, she realized that I got such a piece of junk for my first car, and like she was the one that like kind of helped me like scrap this thing and everything, and she hated the whole thing. She was like really pissed about it. So she actually got my real first car, and that was a 1997, once again, Honda Civic. Now, this Honda Civic, dude, I have so many good memories with this thing, but to be completely honest with you, I absolutely trashed it. It went from stock to huge subs, to lowering springs, to wooden blocks, to the wooden blocks popping out on the highway on my way to work, to literally just riding on struts, to my tires popping, to the car sitting there because I didn't have enough money for suspension anymore, to getting like LX suspension and it actually lifted it. Then I thought it was a bro. Then I started off-roading. Then I watched a Ken Block video, thought I was this like ultimate drifter, crashed it into a tree and totaled it. And that was the end of the good old Civic's life. Another thumbs down. There's gonna be a lot of thumbs down on this, but what you guys have to like know about me is like I love like anything new, whether it's a Chevy Blazer, whether it's just hunk of rotted junk. Like I just like trying to drive like new things, new to me, not like brand new cars, but like anything that I have never really driven and it's 5-speed or anything like that. I'm like, dude, this thing is so cool, and you guys will understand as the stories go on. So that was number 2. Third one, I did add scooters just because I'm a butthurt and I really wanted to get that number high. But third one was this Honda Spree right here. And dude, when I say I loved this thing, I absolutely fell in love with this. I think I got it for like 120 bucks from some sketchy dude. And we ended up spray painting it, putting neon lights on it, under it. I dailied this thing from Torrington to Winston. That was like a 40-minute commute. And I rode this thing every freaking day, loving life. Turns out, I guess the scooter was stolen, and some Mexican guy, he ended up getting out of his car and chasing me on the scooter, and I stopped, and we ended up like fighting, not like fist fighting, but like screaming at each other. He ended up calling the cops. The cops ended up agreeing with him, and long story short, I had to give him back the scooter, never got my money back. That was the end of that. Can I get a thumbs down? We got another thumbs down. So after that, I bought another scooter because I was like, man, I had so much fun with this scooter. I'm going to buy another one. Now, I don't remember where I got this one, but it was kind of the same process. Spray painted this thing primer gray, slapped a bunch of stickers on it. JDM is F. Thing was sick. To be honest with you, I don't really remember what happened to it. I either sold it or it broke and I didn't know how to fix it. But long story short, that thing lasted about a month and we ended up getting rid of that one because for whatever reason. But at this point, we are already on to number 5. And now keep in mind, this is within a couple months. I'm going through these cars like it's bread and butter, all right? So number 5 was my Geo Prism. And this thing was the biggest POS, but the most reliable thing that I've ever owned. Now, I don't have a lot of pictures, but I'll just throw a picture up of what I got off Google Images. So I got this car for $400. My buddy Marcus, he let me borrow the $400 and I ended up paying him back, giving him like $100 a week from my Subway checks. And I actually had this car for quite a while, definitely a solid like 3 or 4 months. Dude, I beat the living hell out of this car. It was a 5-speed, banging rev limiter, just sitting at red lights, holding the rev limiter like, wah-da-da-da-da-da. Just like, I hated the thing so much, I wanted it to blow up. Like, I wish some of my friends were here from high school because, like, you can tell, you can tell whether or not I drove my car to school or not because I was in a bad mood if I drove it. The thing had a huge exhaust leak. Every time I drove it to school, I'd get a migraine because it would just smell like exhaust fumes. It would just piss me off, all right? It ended up working out in my favor, kind of, right? Got the car for 400 bucks. I was driving Orion, Cam, and a bunch of people to Walmart one day, and going down my road, I got hit by a drunk driver. So, all right, so picture, this is the road, right? I'm in my lane going down the hill. This dude is coming up the hill, the drunk guy. He's in the middle of the road. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. So like, I kind of pull off into the kind of like the sidewalk. So like both my right tires are on the sidewalk now. This dude's veering at me even closer at this point. So I'm like, okay, this is sketchy. I put my whole car on the sidewalk. I'm now going down this hill like 5 miles per hour on the freaking sidewalk. This dude's still coming at me. Literally still coming at me. At this point, we're all just screaming like, oh, what are we gonna do? What's happening? Drunk driver hits me, scuffs the whole left side of my car, left mirror comes off. I get out, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And this dude gets out stumbling, whatever. So we like shut his door and like guard his door so the dude doesn't leave. And I forgot what ended up happening. I don't know if the cops for sure gave him like a DUI or something, but the cops ended up coming. He ended up like going home, like someone had to like come pick up his truck got towed. And little did I know, the dude lived on my street. So the next day, me and Orion, we went to his house. I knock on this dude's door, right? And I was like, hey man, you crashed my car. Do you remember that? And like, no, this is stupid looking back, but he was like, yeah, come inside. And this is a big fat dude, like looking like Santa Claus, all right? And like I look at Orion and he looks at me and I kind of just walk inside by myself. Not a good idea, never do that. But I'm sitting in this dude's kitchen. He's like, all right, how much money do you want? How much money do you want? And I'm like, well, you dinged the fender. And in all honesty, like, the car wasn't that bad. It was scratched. The mirror came off. We could have taped it. It wasn't a nice car to begin with. So I really didn't care. I just wanted a freaking penny, all right? So I'm over here in this dude's house. And I'm like, yeah, you dented the fender. The mirror came off. It's going to cost around probably $700 to fix. He's like, all right, I'll be right back. So at this point, I'm kind of freaking out in this dude's like living room, kitchen, wherever I am. I'm like, oh my God, this dude's gonna get a boom boom. He's gonna come boom boom me. And like, this ain't gonna end well. So he ends up coming back up the stairs from the basement. Dude brings $700 cash, right? And he brought a piece of paper and a pen and he wrote, and then I had to write my name, Chris Rudnick will not sue, whatever the hell his name was, in return that I am getting $700 cash. I just signed the piece of paper. I didn't give a damn what was going on. Yes, maybe if I wanted to sue the guy, I probably could have got more money, but I was a 16, 17-year-old kid. I didn't give a damn about any of that. $700 cash when you're working at Subway is a huge come up. Not to mention, I still got to keep the car, didn't go through insurance, didn't have to do anything like that. So I was still driving this thing. So we got the car for $400. Drunk driver hit us, $700. We're $300 in. And at this point, I'm like, wow, I just want to sell it. So then I'm at my friend Justin's house and I put this car up for $700. This sketchy dude comes to buy this car, man, like freaking scary. Like I'm like, this dude's gonna jump us. But he was like talking about how he was on like steroids and he just got out of the gym. He's like, I'm all pumped up, man. Let me just test drive this car. I'm like sitting here like skinny at the time, like, this guy's gonna kill me. But he didn't. He gave me the $700. A year later, I guess the dude never ended up registering the car or anything, and we ended up getting like paperwork from this junkyard saying we owe like $1,700 because this car has been sitting and they towed it and like they wanted the money for the storage. But we just called them and said, look, here's the bill of sale. We sold this a long time ago. Everything got dropped, and I ended up making $1,000 off this crap box. So number 5 was a pretty good turnout. Now number 6, and I still want one of these cars to this day, was my BMW E30. It was like a 1988. I don't remember what it was, but dude, I loved this car. It broke every single week, like the starter or the blower motor or every single thing was just breaking. I didn't have any tools. I didn't know what I was doing. I was hiring a mechanic from Craigslist to come over to Nancy's garage, the garage that we used to like kind of work out of. But I would hire this dude from Waterbury and he would come like fix it for like $60. And I was spending my entire Subway paychecks fixing the E30. And after a while, enough was enough. And then number 7, the Ricer Miata came up, and I got the Ricer Miata. This was a crap show. You guys, if you guys want me to tell this story again, I will, but not in this video because we still have so many more cars to go. But traded the E30 in a turbo kit. E30 broke down. I ended up getting the Miata. The Miata broke down. A whole ton of things went down. I'll share that story again if you guys want in a separate video. Throw it down in the comments. But long story short, traded the E30 for the Ricer. Kept the Ricer. I mean, I still have the Ricer. It's over there to this day. We gave it away. Got it back. It's a cool story. Now, number 8 for my OGs, I'm going to say the Ricer Civic. You guys are probably going to think of the red one if you're not an OG, but I used to have a purple one. This thing was a bucket. Got it for $800. Dailied it for like a month and a half. Thought it was, dude, I thought that this, because I loved the purple coupes. I thought they were so sick. And I'm like, man, I have so many plans with this thing, until I drove it for a week and found out it was a piece of freaking garbage. It had this alarm that you had to like reach your hand all the way up in the dash to get it to work. Oh, the starter stopped working. I didn't have enough money to get a new one, so I ended up... I would be at work. I would be at Subway, right? And my starter would work. So I'd have to push my car, right? And I would have to jump in my car, pop start it to actually... Oh my God. I ended up blowing the head gasket in that thing like a month or two after owning it, and sold it for like $300. No, I sold it for a set of wheels for the Ricer Miata, which the wheels were junk. But anyways, that was a wash. It was a... junkie. It was a thumbs down. There it is. Number 9 was this BMW 5 Series, which I owned literally for 2 days. This lady that I heard of was selling it for like $500, and I guess it needed a transmission. I didn't care. All I heard was BMW 5 Series. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get it. This thing's a boat, a luxury boat. I have to have it. So I get this boat. We go on Hag Garage. I do a fat burnout, and the transmission started slipping. And I'm like, wow, I can't have this. This thing's kind of a hoopty. So I threw it on Craigslist. The next day, someone came back at me with a Camry. I think it was like a 2001, 2002 Camry. Going back to the OGs, this is the one that we tried to lift. But dude, this Camry was sick. I absolutely loved it. The dude ended up giving me, I think it was $500, or it was exactly what I paid for the BMW 5 Series, and a $25 TGI Friday gift card, and the car, right? So I got this car for free. I got an extra $25 to TGI Fridays, and I dailied this thing for a while. It was definitely more than a couple months, but it had a crashed front end, so we had to obviously put some ratchet straps to it, tie it to a tree, ram it forward. Had like a plastic dip front hood. It wasn't pretty by any means, but it was a good daily for sure. I dailied it for quite some time. But going on to the next one, it was the Acura, and this is the one that caught on fire and kind of got me in a lot of trouble. I got 2 years of probation, 200 hours of community service, and I had to use my get out of jail free card. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's called accelerated rehabilitation. After you turned 18, as long as you don't like kill anyone or anything like that, you can use that get out of jail free card to kind of drop, if you have felonies or misdemeanors, you can use that in order to get on probation and community service. And I had to do that because I had a felony on my record, and it was endangerment to a minor because I had Will with me and stuff, and we ended up making that video. So I definitely had to get that dropped and out of my life. But that car was $150. Obviously, I didn't make a penny. It ended up costing me actually a lot, and a lot of my time. So that was definitely a thumbs down. The next one was a huge come up. Shout out to my friend Connor. This was a Jetta Vr6. Now, at the time, I mean, you guys know the cars that I've been riddling to you. They were a bunch of slow junkers. So when I got in this Vr6, dude, which smelled like a lot like crayons, I think I got it for $600. Which it was $500 or $600, and I kept telling my friend Connor, like, dude, are you sure you want to sell this to me? Like, is this really happening? Because I remember this like it was yesterday. I was sitting in the back of Subway, like, dude, I'm about to get a VR6. Like, I can't wait to get out. I can't wait to go to school tomorrow. Like, I was so excited. I thought my friend Connor was trolling me, but he wasn't. I got this Jetta VR6 for $500, 6-speed, so fast. The thing was a rocket ship, and I loved it. I dailied it for about a month and a half. And after that, the oil pressure light kept coming on. Like, it kept It was like that red light that just kept flashing, telling you your oil pressure was low. So I'm like, man, this thing's gonna blow up. I don't know anything about Volkswagens. I'm just gonna throw it up on Craigslist for $1,200. It was $1,200 or $1,600, I don't remember, but literally sold that day. It was gone. I was really sad about it, but I'm like, not my problem anymore. After that one, it was the Subaru Forester. You remember that, Mother?
Unfortunately.
The lemon, and now this. So, going through all these cars, my mom sees that I haven't had the most reliable cars, and like I guess she felt bad for me. And like at this point, my goal was set on a Forester. I wanted a I wanted a Forester, and that was my next goal. My birthday was coming up. My mom actually ended up buying one for me out of the kindness of her heart. And unlike the Civic, I definitely treated this one with respect. I was like, okay, my mom already bought me one car. I trashed this, so I definitely can't do this again. So I would drive this car very nicely. Like, when I say very nicely, I've never driven a car so nice in its life, all right? The first 2 days, it got rod knock. And so I told my mom, thing got rod knock. She was angry. She ended up going back to the person. I guess this was like some big Subaru mechanic that would get these cars, replace the engines, and make them nice, like replace the timing belt, do all of this stuff. So he was a man of his word, and he actually ended up taking the car back. He ended up fixing it again. 1 week later, it got rod knock once again. My mom was just fed up. At the time, once again, I didn't really know too much about engine swaps. I never even used an engine hoist before. I didn't know much about it. So my mom ended up scrapping it, and literally a month later, I was like, wow, I know how to do this now. Like, I could have pulled this engine myself because I was going to Bristol Tech, learning a little. Rest in peace to the Forester. It was clean. It was a clean Forester, and I definitely could have resurrected that thing now, but...
Sad memories.
Sad memories. So that was a...
Sad memory.
Another thumbs down.
$2,000 down the drain.
$2,000 down. Well, we got like $60 from like the junkyard, so... $19.40 down the drain. Anyways, since we're talking about money going down the drain, I wasted $1,500 after that because I bought this RV. I had this huge, insane plan that I was gonna buy this piece of junk RV. Thing was disgusting. It had mold in it. Nothing worked in it. But in my head, I was like, yeah, we're gonna make this thing sick again because Mambo was the carpenter. He was like, dude, you get this thing, we're gonna build it, we're gonna do all this cool stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I got a carpenter behind me. We know what we're doing. So I buy this bucket for $1,500, right? But I loved this bucket. I drove it to school. We had like show and tell in my shop. Like all of the kids in my class was in this RV. I was talking about like, yeah, we're gonna take down these walls, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna go to California in this thing. And honestly, we were doing pretty good. We replaced the floors, we replaced the walls, we got all of the stuff out of it. But the biggest problem that we were having is we couldn't get this roof to stop leaking. We tried so many things until the winter came and the roof ended up like collapsing. And I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Ended up giving it to this dude for free, just calling it a wash overall. Wasn't probably really a wash because I was making content with it at the time. So I probably ended up either breaking even or actually making money off it. So either way, I got no regrets. Rest in peace. That was
sad memory in the farm.
I don't think any of these actually were a sad memory because they've developed to where I am now, and I don't regret anything other than the Acura Fire. The last car was a sad memory because it ended up going to the junkyard, and it definitely didn't deserve that. But after that, I got a Chevy Blazer, right? And I got the Chevy Blazer for $600. Thing was sick. It didn't like work at the time, or it needed something like really little, but my friend just wanted to get rid of it. 60,000 miles. Every single thing worked but that one thing. I ended up fixing it in one day. Thing was mint. Dailied it around for 1 month until my friend David Lamb wanted it. So he ended up giving me his dad's Nissan Maxima and his Subaru Legacy. So for $600, I got this Subaru Legacy and I got this Nissan Maxima. Next day, sold the Nissan Maxima for $1,500. Didn't even look at it, didn't even drive it, didn't care about it, didn't want it. Sold it for $1,500. Way in the green at this point. Then, with the Subaru Legacy, we dailied that thing for so long. It was such a good car, dude. It wasn't a good car, actually. It had 220,000 miles. It was a rust bucket, but it was sick. in the winter, we would drift around. I ended up beating that car up so much to the point where at the end, when I was done with it, I was driving down the highway and my axle fell out of my car. It was great. At the end of it, it ended up being one-wheel drive. No idea what I did with it. I think maybe I sold it. Don't really know. Didn't care because I was already in the green and I was just having a good time with my life. So I guess you could say I've always been into the flip business, and if in my head I think there's a good deal, I'm gonna hop on it. So at the time there was this Kia Sophia, right? Don't know what year it was. All I heard was, dude, my friend's selling this car for $100. Do you want it? I'm like, $100 for a car? Hell yeah, I want it. So I had this car ended up biting me in the ass because I got it for $100. I ended up just flipping it to this guy I knew for $500, which really bit me in the butt because it had so many problems and the guy didn't know what he was doing, and I had to fix all the problems because I felt bad because now I'm over here. I made $400 and the car didn't even last a week. So the alternator blew. I had to fix the alternator. The CV shaft or the axles, something broke, and I had countless hours into that car, like just laying in the middle of the road, grease in my hair, pissed off. Really, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of getting into it with literally my little toolbox. But we ended up getting it to work, and the car ended up lasting like 2-3 months after that, and like the engine blew. And after that, I was like, this just can't be my problem anymore. So that was that. So we're already up to 19, and number 19 was the OG Miata. If you guys don't know what the OG Miata was, it was Orion's first blue one. I didn't even know that I was buying this car. I got it for like $1,200 or something. I only bought it because it had a hardtop, and I was like, $1,200 for a Miata and a hardtop, that's a steal. So I ended up buying it. It was this disgusting wide body thing, like literally puke in my mouth worthy, right? So I get this car, put the hardtop on the right, Miata, stoked. And as I open the hood to the engine bay, I see on the intake manifold, it said Hoonigan. So I took a picture and I sent it to Orion. I was like, dude, is this your old car? And he freaked out. He was so pumped. He was like, dude, I'll buy that thing off you. Like, how much you want? I'm like, dude, give me $800 and I keep the coilovers, or it was something like that. And he gave me $800 for the car because he wanted to resurrect it and like put a KA into it. Didn't happen, but got the $800. Got a hardtop for $400. For all my Miata guys out there, that's a freaking steal. Going on to number 20, this is my Ford Ranger. Yes, I had a beat up Ford Ranger. Don't really remember too much of it. I just really wanted a truck. I got it for $800. Thing lasted quite some time. Off-roaded, had a good time. Ended up like selling it to Dan or something. Not too much went on with that one. Number 21, we ended up getting an SC300, and it had a boosted single turbo 2J in it. And I was, dude, all I heard was 2J and single turbo. It was auto, but I didn't care. I'm like, dude, this thing is so sick. But like everything on Craigslist, it needed a tune. No idea what I was doing. I think I got to drive it like once or twice. It drove like complete dog poop. Like probably never even ended up getting into boost, but ended up just selling that thing for a little bit of a profit. Didn't really get to keep it for that long. After that, I really wanted a Ruckus, so I ended up buying one. I drove like 3 hours for this thing, but got this Ruckus for $1,500, drove it around, dailied it for quite some time, had a blast with the thing, until my friend David Lamb once again came up to me, was like, yo, I got this NB Miata, I'll trade you for the Ruckus. So I ended up giving him a little bit of money and my Ruckus for his NB Miata, because I'm a Miata butthurt. It had a hardtop once again. It was all camo at the time. I thought it was sick. Still don't think it's a bad car. Drove that thing for a very long time. Probably, when I say very long time, I mean 4 or 5 months. Thing was a great car, very reliable, other than I had this one battery issue where I had to run the wire because it ended up like dragging on the ground. Whatever, had to replace an alternator, wasn't that big of a deal. Coming up on 24 was my first my first and only S14. I was so pumped on this thing. My only goals was to get it painted, get a kooky front end, and lower it with some wheels. And this is actually the time where I met Tommy, and then Tommy started like playing all these ideas. He's like, yo, you can SR swap it, you can do this, you can do that. And at this time I started like making like a good amount of money, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this SR. He had a kooky front end. That's how I met him. I bought the kooky front end. He had coilovers. I bought the coilovers, and after that I was like gung-ho. I was like, yeah, I can do this SR swap, no problem, this is easy. Wasn't that easy. Ended up taking a very long time because I didn't know what I was doing and we couldn't get the thing started, and it was very aggravating. Ways away, Earl ended up getting it started, but then I kind of just lost interest, which, to be honest, I'm actually really sad about, because if I can go back, I would have loved to have that S14 SR swapped and like drifting and driving and all of that stuff. And sore subject, I don't want to talk about that. After this one, this was just stupid. Tommy had this, like, or Grant had this Cressida, but it was at Tommy's shop, and they were like $300, and I was like, yeah, I can put like a 5.3 in this thing. I don't know what I was thinking, all right? I was like thinking all these swaps, and I'm like, yeah, 5.3 swap, not knowing anything about the swap or anything. I'm like, yeah, this is possible, which it is, but at the time for me, wasn't possible. So I got this Cressida, never ended up doing anything with it, which another don't want to talk about. After that, we got the Honda Grom. Honda Grom was great. I mean, me and my friends ended up destroying it, but that thing lasted like 2 years of fun, doing wheelies, drifting in the snow, like just so many good memories with that thing. It was great. I loved it. No regrets there. I have another one. That's how much I liked it. Going on 27 was this S13 that I got from my friend Jamie. It was just a single jingle KA. Still loved the thing. It was great. It was just a junky KA car. Burned a bunch of oil, leaked a bunch of oil, but it was sick. It was a hatch, and I loved S13 hatches. Drove it around for like a week and a half. And when I got a car, I was always like, okay, I like this car, but I'm just going to throw it on Craigslist just to see what I can get, whatever. Like, I don't care. And I actually ended up trading that one for another Miata because it needed a lot of work. It needed a clutch. It was leaking oil from every single seal. And you guys know I'm a butthurt for the Miata. So this is when I traded the S13 for the ignorant Miata, a.k.a. Will's Miata. And when I say this thing was low, you couldn't drive on a flat road without it scraping, but I didn't care. I thought that was cool. And that's what I was into. So that's what we did. Scraped around, have a good time, dailied it for a while. And like at the time, Will was like a huge part of my channel. He was always hanging out with me and stuff. And like, I didn't want him to feel left out. So I actually ended up giving him that car. And I told him, I was like, look, anything this car needs, like, I will pay for it as long as you're here working on it consistently. We're making videos on it. I don't care what it costs. We're going to fix it. I don't really know what happened with that. I guess Will just wasn't like too motivated to work on the car, which is okay with me. I'm not like saying this to talk crap. I'm just saying that this is the events that happened with the car. And long story short, we got the car running. It never was really drivable because no one really ever cared about it, and we never even worked on it. So there's that. Holy crap, there's so many freaking cars. Now, some of these cars aren't really important, so I'm going to try to speed through them. Next one, for 29, we had a Dodge Dakota. This truck was honestly great. It got me around a lot and made some good content with it. The downside of that truck was it was two-wheel drive, and in the snow, it was absolutely awful. But, man, I guess there's a good story to this. Mambo ended up totaling the truck. He got drunk one night and decided it was a good idea to just smash it. I wasn't there. I was at the shop, but I stored it at my friend John's house where Mambo lived at the time, and he just started smashing the thing like crazy. Ended up totaling it, but no hard feelings there. He ended up giving me more money than I paid for it, and then I scrapped it, and then I sold some parts out of it. Ended up making a decent amount of money off it. So Mambo, if you're watching this, thank you so much for totaling my truck. Number 30, 2002 Jetta. This is when Dan downfall came, where he wanted the car so he can build a turbo manifold for a customer. He wanted to use that one as reference. So I'm like, okay, you can take this. In return, just replace the turbo. I gave him the replacement turbo, and 3 months later, car's still not done. Didn't have his car for 3 months. I'm asking him what's going on. Then he wanted money. Then I offered him money, and then surprisingly the next day the car was done. So I said, nope, you're not getting your money. Long story short, we get into a fight, and he pulls one of these on me. That's it. And that's all I'm going with that. 2002 Jetta. I think I ended up selling it after that, but moving on. After that, we have one of my favorite cars on this list, and it was my BMW 135. Still miss it to this day. Will has it. I absolutely love that car. Still love it. Always will love it. Always will miss it. Moving on. After that, we got the LS1 E36. I drifted it. I blew it up. I put an engine back in it. We plastic dipped it. We painted the wheels. That, honestly, that was an awesome car. I drove it all the way to New Jersey. We drifted it. Drove it to Lock City. Drifted it. Had so many good memories in that car. Very good time. Another sore subject. Bought this bagged E36. Thought I was going to do stuff with it. Didn't really know much about it. Ended up just parting it out and selling it. Sad because, like, looking back at these cars, like, the mindset that I had, it was correct, but I never did, like, any of, like, the research or anything to, like, actually know what I was doing. And, like, now, if I had those cars, I definitely would be able to do that stuff, and they would definitely progress a lot faster. And, like, I know how to, like, plan for stuff, and, like, I was just gung-ho and just, I want this, I want that, I want this, and, like, I would be doing so many things at once that I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. So I'm trying to get away from that. It's still hard because, like, my brain always wants, like, the new thing, or, like, I see something on Facebook, I'm like, I must have that. And, like, that's something that I really need to work on myself. But at the same time, I don't really have to work on it because people like that about me. So it's like a love-hate relationship with myself. After the bagged E36, we ended up getting the Challenge Civic, the nitrous Civic, the Ricer Civic V2, whatever you want to call it. It was the $1,000 car challenge that I did with Tommy, that we went from Florida all the way to Connecticut. Ended up blowing that thing up in New York, and Tommy actually, on the highway, he put his front end to my back end, and he just literally pushed me to, like, the next exit and everything. We had to pick it up next day. That was the next car. Going on to the car that I still have, number 35, and that is my Roadster. My SR20 Roadster, absolutely love that car. I have so many great memories. I actually want, like, to make a video from start to finish with that car, just where it started, because it was so beat up to where it is now. Super cool car. Love it. What?
I didn't even know you were here.
Oh my god, you just scared the heck out of me, like there was like a fire in there. Okay, so number 36, we got the Turd Bucket Miata. I got that from Marcus for 800 bucks because I wanted to resurrect the Ricer Miata, because we took it all apart for Will's Miata or something. We ended up taking it apart for someone's car, and I wanted it back because me and Tommy had a bet going on. I had to get it done in a week. Marcus sold me his car, and that was part of the collection for a couple days. After that one, I got my first 2005 Blobeye WRX. Absolutely love this thing. It was super cool. Had a lot of fun with it. Ended up selling it to my cousin. My cousin couldn't really drive standard too well. Ended up not wanting it. Ended up buying it back from him because I felt bad, and drove it around for a little bit. And after that, we ended up getting the lifted Forester. that from my roommate, Famous Alex, and I got that thing off him for 300 bucks because it had like rod knock or something. Something was wrong with it, and he just didn't want the car anymore. So I picked it up that night for like 300 bucks or however much I gave him. And I guess to this day, he still says I broke his heart. When I got the car, he said the engine was blown up, so I just wanted to finish it off. So like we'd be in fourth gear, me and Spencer, and I tried to shove it into first gear to like just try to explode the thing, just sit on rev limiter, and just I cranked on it. But you guys know the story of the lifted Forester. Great memories, great car. I had so much fun, ended up rolling it. After that one, we got the LS2 E36. We still have that to this day, and it's now an LS3 because I blew up the LS2, literally my first drift event. Ended up getting an LS3, and that thing cranks, makes 400 wheel. We don't really need to talk about that thing too much. And then number 40, if you were to guess, yes, you guessed right, it is another Miata. I got this thing for $1,600, British green, hard top, everything, 1,600 bucks. Thing was sick. Ended up like turboing this, trying to make it really nice until a heroin addict came to the house and stole it and then
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's the one that crashed down the...
Yep. It crashed down there. She pooped in it. She bled in it. It was absolutely disgusting. I never got anything from it. But we ended up just cutting up the car because at this point it was completely turbo. It was completely done. It totaled, like couldn't do anything with it. And so it ended up just being a content car until I ended up just completely taking everything out of it and scrapping the shell. Number 41 was the 4-door Skyline. I had some big plans to do the RB26 swap, which we'll kind of get into a little later. But yeah, it was the 4-door Skyline. Number 42, I had a nitrous scooter. Jack actually gave me that, and he was like, yeah, nitrous is great. I'm like, yeah, nitrous is great. And it wasn't like really working, so we ended up like taking the jet out, and the thing just literally exploded. Actually, Jack rebuilt it, and he has it now, so it's still alive. Number 43, I think I ended up trading the WRX for the GTI, so the dude gave me money with the GTI or something, but ended up getting this GTI. Thought it was super cool for like 4 days. It was so, those oil pans in the GTI, they hang so low. Literally like the 4th day of owning the car, I ended up popping the oil pan and having to fix that, and the water pump went, and like I got over that car so fast. The Volkswagens always just have so many issues. Didn't want to deal with it anymore. Hey!
Hi.
After the GTI, I was so sick of it, I ended up getting an 02 Acura RSX. Didn't really have that one for too long either. Kind of just ended up flipping it, whatever, moving on. After that, I bought Grillo's Ricer scooter, which was a little fun for a little while. I just kind of bought it because I wanted some content, and it was fun, I guess. Number 46, I ended up buying Grillo a car because he loves Beetles. He had his new Beetle, and we bought him that like 2001, 2002 green one, and I kind of just let him do whatever he wanted with it, and we ended up rusting it out, sticker bombing it, and putting some Corvette wheels on it, some salad shooters, if you may. But I personally to this day thought like for the little budget that we had, I think I ended up spending like a total of, with coilovers, with the wheels, with everything, like under $800. Thing looked pretty baller for what it was, but moving on. Number 47, I didn't want my RV dreams to come to an end just yet. Now, I'm kind of over it. Unless it's a brand new one that looks like one of those tour buses, I'm not really into it, but had another RV. This one was sick. Got it for $3 grand, and it was great. Me and Anton took a trip to Taunton, Mass. We went to like New York City. We went to like a couple places with it. It was a lot of fun, and me and Will ended up driving it down to Florida to like go and visit or something. Oh, this is when I was getting the other 4-door, which we're not there yet. After the RV, I was really missing the Forester. I was really missing the off-road days, so I ended up getting a Cherokee, an XJ, right? So got this thing. It was mint. I think it's rhino lined. I think it's called rhino line. We ended up rhino lining it. I got a lift kit. I had still the wheels from the Forester. Put those on it. It was great. Loved it. Lasted like 1 day in the woods because Anton wanted to go to this place that he was thought was so sick. Wasn't sick at all. There was no trails. We ended up getting lost in the woods, getting stuck 100 times, and my Jeep, literally day 1, got destroyed. I ended up like, we had to climb up a hill like this freaking steep, and I ended up like, the car ended up falling back down, smashing into a tree. Oh, I was so angry that night, and honestly, I'm still a little upset about that XJ because we put a lot of work into that thing, and Anton, you got me on that one. All right, after that, we had the second 4-door Skyline, which I got the second one because I realized my first one wasn't like the cleanest, and like at this time I had like $12,000 in parts. I was like almost ready to do this full swap and everything, and the body just wasn't the cleanest, so I ended up getting another one to do the swap, and we tried to go most of the time without, we tried to go from Florida to Connecticut without getting a hotel, and Will ended up falling asleep behind the wheel. Thank God Will was safe, but the car ended up kind of getting totaled, and that was kind of the end of my dream there because I wanted the second 4-door to do the RB26 swap, and then that got crashed, and then I had to deal with that, and then there was just so many deals with Tommy in my head, and like I ended up just giving him, I traded him both of those cars for something. We had a lot of wheeling and dealing for sure. But after the four-door Skyline, I got the K truck at the same time because I traded the RV for that and some cash. I think I got the K truck in like $1,500. I don't quite remember, but we got those. And then I bought an F-150. So we were in Florida. I had the four-door Skyline. I had a trailer. I had the K truck. And I didn't have an RV anymore. So I needed to buy a truck. So I got this F-150 from Miami. Biggest pile. Probably shouldn't have towed anything across the country, but we did it. It was very scary. I don't recommend it. It wasn't fun whatsoever. But we did it. It made it. I actually ended up towing my drift car once all the way to Thompson Speedway. Like 2 hours from here with it, with the LS car, which wasn't fun either, but it did it. Number 52, I ended up buying my ex-girlfriend a Hyundai, which was stupid because that girl sucked, and she didn't appreciate it whatsoever, but moving on. Number 53, Anton wanted a Miata. Bought a Miata, and I actually ended up like letting him use all of the parts from the green Miata so he can turbo and stuff. We actually like ended up turboing that car in one night. He dailied this thing for like 3 months, I swear to God, and he didn't want it anymore. I ended up buying it from him, and that day, that freaking day that I bought it from him, the thing went up in flames and the whole thing like burned to the ground. Not literally, but the shell wasn't usable anymore. The wiring harness completely got melted and everything. The day I got it, it burnt to the ground, all right? He dailied it, drifted it for 3 months. Crazy. After that, I ended up getting my first real truck, which was the GMC Sierra. That thing was awesome, and I loved it. It was a 5.3, it was great. Never broke, never gave me issues. It was a great car, great truck. The only thing, it was two-wheel drive, whatever. After that, I got the G37. That was kind of like one of the deals that I made with Tommy, like for the truck or whatever. It doesn't matter, G37, who cares? And then we had the Ricer Civic, which you guys know about, I still have. We got the Evo 1, which is just sitting in my garage looking perfect as ever. I love that car, but I don't want to like really do much with it because it's so perfect. But we have that. After that, we got the Blueberry, which once again, that is in my garage perfect as well with the misers and slant. Like literally like I think Miata, and like that's like one of like my dream visions of like the stance side of me. So that's just sitting in the garage. Yeah, Cooper's giving that a thumbs up. That's a huge thumbs up. Going on to the next one, we got the GTR, which in the next few videos, next coming up video, you guys are going to find out we finally got wheels for that car, and it's going to be way too much money, but at this point, it's kind of an investment. I'll explain later. It's not important in this video. Number 60, we have the Ruckus, which is actually at Tommy's shop. I got that from Shaw, and I got that a long time ago, but you guys know the whole thing with me waiting on the wheels and the parts and stuff, that we just couldn't start it for a very long time, but that's number 60 was the Ruckus. Number 61 was my truck, my 2015 F250. You guys know about that. Number 62 was the LS400. That thing was sick for what it was. I got it for really cheap, for $500 or something. Sold it for $1,500, but before I did that, I drifted the heck out of it. Had a lot of fun with it. It was fun. Number 63 is the STI, the GC8, that's actually in the UK, and yes, I still have it, and yes, that's going to come to America. It's just a matter of when. Jesus. Number 64 was the $100 Miata that when I came back to Connecticut to visit, I was doing like that flip series, and we got the $100 Miata, we got the world's worst Miata, we got the Subaru Outback XT, which that dude tried to screw me. He ended up paying me in like goods and services on PayPal, and like a few months later, he ended up trying to get that money back, and it was like $2,500, and I had to call PayPal, deal with that, but luckily they said they don't deal with car deals, so they ended up just giving me all my money back, thankfully. After that, we got the red NB Miata, which I ended up selling to a friend for actually a decent amount of profit. That thing was pretty sweet. We got a junk Miata, that's the one that fell off the lift if you guys watched that video. Another junk Miata. Then 70, we got the EF Civic. Thought I could bring it back to life. couldn't bring it back to life. 71, we have the CRX, and yes, that's still being worked on, and yes, that car will never be forgotten. Don't worry about that. I don't want you to think that. I just told Tommy to kind of just take his time with it because he is busy around the shop and stuff, and I don't want to rush perfection. After that, number 72, we got the Junk Integra, and I kind of just, it was a DA, I kind of just bought that for some parts for the CRX. After that, we got the Suron, you guys know about that. 74, we got the Juggernaut, kind of one of those things that I just put in to raise the number. Number 75, we got my ND Miata, which we're getting wheels for that very soon as well, which I'm very excited about. After that, we got 76, the off-road Miata, which is over there.
The Joe Exotic.
The Joe Exotic, is that a what? Which one do you think it is?
The blue one.
No, thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up, and I agree with him. That thing, Courtney, is that thing, oh, I thought she was over there. Courtney, is that a lot of fun?
Yeah.
She says yes. That means it's a thumbs up. Going on. 77, this is a desperate one, the side-by-side. Yes, I only owned it for a week. Yes, it's not a car, but I wanted to raise the number a little bit, you know what I mean? Number 78, we got that stretched Honda Spree that I got for Tommy for that trip that I really wanted to do. Right now, it's definitely up in the air, and I don't know if or when if we're gonna do it, just because of this is gonna take a very long time to heal, and I don't know if I want to risk everything. Moving on. At 79, we got the 2020 Honda Grom, which is sitting in my garage, which my mom thinks is for sale, and it's not. I bought something for it, so it's not. After that one, we have the Flip Miata, which is in Florida, which is actually completely done, and we have a video for that. I just have to edit it up, but you guys are gonna yell at me for it anyways, because I'm not the one in the video, but it's done, and it'll be for sale at some point. And number 81, we had 81 cars, and to finish it off was Grillo's van, which is a complete and utter junker. It is terrifying to be in. Thing smokes, smells like it's gonna catch on fire, burns oil, and I absolutely hate that vehicle. I have no idea how long this video is, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I do want to do a Q&A within the next couple days, so if you guys have any questions about any one of these cars, you can throw it in the comment section below. Like if you wanted to know more information about something, I can definitely put that in the Q&A as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one. Obviously it was a talking video, but I haven't done one of these videos in like 3 years, and the last time I did it, I had 35 cars, so definitely wanted to do this. It took me legit 3 hours to go through my YouTube, my camera roll, to like even remember all of these. It was very hard, it was very challenging, so hopefully you guys appreciate it. I think we're gonna end the video right here. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. You guys want to subscribe for more, subscribe for more. Like I said, Q&A coming very soon, and throw it down in the comments what you guys want to see, and thank you for watching. Peace.
I told you, the sky is the limit. I can't let nothing get in my way. I don't care what they gotta say. I'ma do my thing, you already know. Pull up in the Benz, oh she ready to go. Ride with me, baby, yeah, ride with me. Going to the moon, baby, come and fly with me, yeah.